thank you for joining me. I am Dr. Marianne Trent and this is Good Thinking Live. I usually like to give you a little bit more notice when this is going ahead, and today I have to confess that I was quite spontaneous and I've used a little gap in my diary. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. If you've got any questions, do feel free to ask them. Just checking that I can see comments as they come up. I think I can. Yes, I can. That's lovely. So if you've got any questions or comments, just let me know. So yeah, I do these shows when I get questions come in that people would find it helpful for me to answer. So today I'm going to be talking about reward charts for children, because that's something that's commonly suggested to try and help with discipline and to try and help people to strive for the same goals. So I just thought I'd spend a little bit of time thinking with you about my perspective on rewards charts and how and when they can work and when you might want to consider using them if people are suggesting you should. So please don't think that you need to use reward charts. So what can be really useful is thinking about children as being impulsive, children as being not yet able to be fully autonomous in the decisions and the life choices that they make. Where reward charts can get a little bit squiffy is sometimes when frustration sets in, as it always does with being a human, and when we might be looking to manage our feelings about situations by acting out through the reward chart, if that makes sense. So if you have earned something on a reward chart, then the child has earned that. We can't take that away. So I know when I worked in CAM services, people were saying, well, we've used this reward chart and we were supposed to be going to the cinema or the zoo, but we can't possibly go to the cinema or the zoo now because this behaviour has been, just not good enough. But actually what we say to that is, well, that's not actually how life works as an adult. So generally speaking, if you've earned your salary, because you've done the work that you need to do in the week, then what happens is you get your salary at the end of the week or the end of the month. Somebody doesn't say, well, you actually, you lost us that order, or, you spilt your lunch on your keyboard because you weren't paying attention, or, you were actually a bit rude to your boss, so we're not going to pay you. That's not happening, because you'd be up in arms and you'd be, getting people involved to lobby for fair and equal treatment. And, and that's what we're doing to a child if we say, actually, that thing that you've earned, because your behaviour has not been good enough, we're taking that away from you. So it's really useful to think about that. So if you're going to set up a reward chart initiative, an incentive, that you are willing to stick by your own rules and that the child knows what the expectation is. So we can't keep layering on additional responsibilities, and we also need to know that the children are impulsive and that things are really tricky. So I was asking my little boy, so my eldest, to not do something yesterday because I'd asked him not to, and he carried on because it's fun, isn't it? But actually, I kind of had to say, well, this hasn't made me feel great, actually. I know that you're young and that it's hard to stop when someone says stop, but this is my body. I get to choose if I don't want you to. I can't even remember what he was doing. It would have been a much better story had I remembered what he was doing. But I think he was just making, I don't know, I can't even remember, like rolling around screaming, but it was hurting my head. And so I was like, well, I matter too. And, I respect your right to roll around and scream, but if you want to go and, and he's having fun, if you want to do that, you can do that elsewhere. That makes me sound really harsh, but, I recognise his rights to express his body and, make noise when he wants, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to listen to it, you know. So in terms of reward charts, you know, it can be really common around toileting that people suggest them, in terms of, you know, having kind hands. But there, you know, we do have to recognise developmental stages and unique individual differences between children and temperaments and ability as well. So generally speaking, I am not really on board with reward charts, but mainly because I know how it is to be a human, that we don't always apply them fairly or consistently, or that we change the goalposts, you know. So for example, if people want good behaviour, you know, I don't know, something as kind of woolly as that, it's not very concrete, is it? What you need to do is you need to be saying, you know, what the limits are that you expect, and that's what you're reinforcing. So trying to think about common reward charts. Yeah, don't hit your sister, you know. Actually, what you're doing is you're needing to teach skills to do things for conflict resolution that do not involve hitting is obviously key, because you can't just say, well, don't do that, because it's a coping strategy. You know, it's a way of muddling through the situation that they're in to have a different result. So, you know, when he hit his sister, it got him the result that she stopped doing what it was that was annoying him, you know. But actually, if we teach that child to pause, slow down, take a breath, vocalize what it is that they want to stop and why, you know, please could you stop screaming like that, because it's hurting my head, and you know, I don't want to listen to that. But actually, of course, if we're distressed or agitated, it's more likely that hitting his sister is going to feel like the most sensible strategy. Do you see what I mean? So we need to look at the function behind the behaviour, not just the behaviour. And I feel like I'm not doing a very good job at talking to you about reward charts here. But what I want to just really cement is that we are being consistent and fair, you know. So for example, if someone is really annoyed with their child or their partner for doing XYZ, then they say, well, you're not having your iPad for the rest of the day. Or, you know, it's quite common, we've got Easter break coming up, you're not having your iPad for the rest of the Easter holidays. Well, actually, that's not, unless the behaviour originally involved the iPad. So if they'd thrown the iPad at somebody or hadn't taken due care of the iPad, you know, they're expensive, aren't they? You know, and that angers you and makes you feel like you're not respecting, you know, the things that belong to the home. But unless the behaviour is linked to the iPad, it wouldn't necessarily be ethical to take away iPad, because it's not related. And so the child begins to see inconsistency and unfairness in the application of the regime, you know, the behavioural regime. So I hope that's helpful, and I am happy to answer any questions. If anyone's watching on replay, please give me a hashtag replay and feel free to ask any questions and I can answer them afterwards. If you're watching this on Facebook, then please do like my page, which is Good Thinking Psychological Services. And like and comment would be great. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and like and comment and ask any questions. You could even hit the notification bell to be alerted for when I go live and when new content is created. If you're watching on Instagram or LinkedIn or anywhere else, then please, do like, engage, and enjoy what I am doing, and then I know to do more of it. So I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and I hope you find this really useful. And like I said, if you're watching on replay, just give me a shout and let me know that you've watched it and what you thought to it. Okay, have a good rest of day. Take care, guys.